Folks, welcome into sportsbookreview.com. It's time to talk some Major League Baseball right here on a Wednesday. Boy, was it a good night on Tuesday. We'll see if we can extend it today, even have some afternoon action. I'm Donnie Seymour for Kyle Purviance and also Jason Radowitz. We are the Major League Baseball team right here on sportsbookreview.com. Is it a new look for today? Yes. Yesterday, we were frozen in time, but that did not stop the winners. So we are back and better than ever. Kyle, how's it going today?
It's a good day. We absolutely dominated in the golf match, for those of you who are wondering. Ended up winning by 19, playing 18 holes. Absolutely beautiful.
Yes.
Cheers, Art. Cheers to everyone in the chat box. I won't be typing in there because we're in a little bit different format. But as a 2-0 play of the day night, of course, Donnie's hit. They always do. Jason's picks. I mean, it's just a great night for us. So hopefully we can do it again tonight.
And the reason, by the way, Kyle can't type in the chat box, he was suspended by management behind the scenes. So don't let that fool you right there. Jason, welcome into the show, man. How's it going today?
It's going good. Got the push for the play of the day, but the two value menu wagers, they both hit. So did end up with profit at the end of the day for myself. And, of course, you guys hit your best plays. So it was a great day all around.
No, it certainly was, and it's enjoyable. And if you guys come in here day to day and watch what we do, like we generally laugh, we have fun, we really enjoy it. And thank you guys for coming in here and supporting the show because we're going to be here all summer long, right through to the World Series, pumping out that good content in Major League Baseball. And how about this? 86,400 subscribers now. So each and every day climbing higher and higher and higher. Thank you guys. If you haven't submitted or you haven't hit that subscribe button, please do that. Turn the notification bell on because when we go live, whether it be through YouTube, the internet, or right here on StreamYard, we got you covered here. Or you haven't, it's bookreview.com. And even if you can hear it in the background, it's probably Kyle trying to trip me up here in my earpiece. I'm not going to let it happen, Kyle. You can't play these games with me right now. We are after it. We are getting after it, man.
Yeah, well, I'm excited for today. Today's, it's a weird card. There are some kind of like weird sort of pitching matchups and stuff. And some of the obvious ones, like we're going to get to in a moment, the Padres, Cubs, a little obvious, but not great value there. But we got some plays for today. It's going to be a good day.
All right, why don't we get into it? Live game right now going on the Giants and the Rangers. It's up here on the Major League Baseball Network. No score in this game, but early thoughts in here. I'll start with you first, Kyle. Did you have a play in this game? Did you have a look in this game or a feel? What are we doing here on this one?
I was sort of leaning Texas, honestly, to start this one. Look, the Giants do have the lineup, Belt, Crawford, et cetera, to hit the righty Gibson, but this Littell guy, it's going to be a short little outing for him. Little, I don't know if it's Little, Littell. I always mess those up. But
he's already done after one. He's done after one.
Oh, he's done after one.
Yeah,
so there you go. So
it's going to be long getting the most
long
of the action
thing. So, it was kind of tough to get a real good read on it. Slight lean to Texas. I thought there was some plus money value there earlier in the day, but I didn't put anything official for me. I'd sort of just kind of keep an eye on this, maybe do the Donnie RightSide, wait to get that free roll late in the 6th, 7th inning and attack it there, but a slight lean to Texas for me.
Looking at how it matched up here on the card, wasn't in love with that Texas lineup, Jason. Obviously, the San Francisco Giants now, you're taking a look at this lineup day to day. It looks pretty good no matter who they line up with. I couldn't find value in this game. Did you wager anything, Jason, have a look on this early game today?
No, I put nothing on this game, but knowing that Long was going to be going for the bulk of this game, he is a lefty, and of course the Rangers, they've struggled really badly against lefties throughout the entire season, and especially the last 30 days or whatnot. Alex Wood obviously had pretty good outing until towards the end of the game, towards the end of his outing, but they've struggled versus lefties, so I did kind of like the Giants more, just a better team at -110, but it can go either way. I see where Kyle's coming from as well. And that's why he and I both didn't take a wager on this game because it really is more of a 50-50 game. So we don't really see any value in it.
And how about this? Yes, you see in the chat box, the suspension was lifted by management within 5 minutes. Congratulations, Kyle. He is back and in charge of the chat box. A real quick topic before we dive into the top 3 games that we have on the board today. And this always dates back to gambling and how we bring it in. Can you imagine? Let me set the table for you yesterday. You're sitting, and whether or not, like, I'm a crazy person when I gamble. If I'm not doing shows, I can't watch the game that I have, particularly if it's a no-run first inning wager. I can only imagine getting the notification to my watch while I'm walking my dog. I had no runs first inning, and I got a solo blast in the Pittsburgh game. Brian Hayes hits a home run. I lost that wager. I shut my phone off. I'm like, I'm going to walk around and come back and be like, why is there more money in my account? In this day and age in baseball, flat out missing first base on a home run, Kyle. And it's not so much the embarrassment of doing that, but the ricochet in the gambling world that you see 3 minutes later, and let's just say you're watching the game and you turned it off and you see on Twitter, hey, by the way, they took that home run off the board. He missed first base. You're like, what is going on?
Yeah, well, I love those when they work out in your favor because you get those bad beats all the time, right? So you get lucky once in a while. You got to take those wins and enjoy it, maybe buy a lottery ticket, you know, but I don't know how. I mean, second graders, 8-year-olds, no, you got to touch first base. We've seen some weird things in baseball. It appears that Major League Baseball players have absolutely no idea how to run the bases. You can't even trot around on a home run now. Really, really bizarre. That's a painful loss. If you had it the other way, that's a painful loss.
You know, it's interesting, Jason, on that too, because you have we like to watch these no-run first innings, and they are sprints. But then I also see like the young kid who's high up in the Royals farm system, Bobby Witt Jr. He hits a home run and does like a little skip to the plate and doesn't touch home plate, and he was called out on a home run. Yeah. Fundamentals, Jason. Fundamentals, not there this year.
Yeah. And all you got to do is just touch the bases. That's all you got to do. It's that simple. It could take you a minute to do it. All you got to do is just do it. You could walk the bases. You could do whatever the heck you want. You just got to touch the base. But, yeah, I mean, that game was 5-3 as well. So Dodgers getting that minus 1.5. So all those Dodgers backers that had minus 1.5, they got a little break there because it could have been 5-4. And, of course, I mean, the game changes with that home run. A lot of things change in the game. So we can't say, yeah, it was going to be 5-4. But hypothetically, it would have been 5-4, and the Pirates backers with plus 1.5 would have won that bet. So, yeah, just crazy all around. It's fascinating how major league batters and even minor league guys just don't understand. Just touch the base.
So weird.
And the best part about it is I can see in the NFL, right, or in the National Basketball League, you step on the line. You don't really know because it's a line. This is a puffy, like 4-inch bag off the ground that your brain says, I don't think I felt this base, but I'm going to continue to second base. And I almost think sometimes it's almost like a fail-safe mechanism where you were embarrassed you missed the base, but nobody's looking at that anyway. Let me just round these bases, because if you're midway between, first and second and you jog back and touch first, I don't want to do that. Nobody saw it. It's amazing. First off, that even somebody recognized it, because most people are who's looking at, hey, let me see if he touches first base. Everybody touches first base, Kyle.
Yeah, it's just, and I'm not even sure why if you hit a home run, then they just look, you got the run. Do we have to wait? Like, baseball's already slow enough. Do we have to waste time to watch some overweight middle-aged guy trot around the bases and and he's getting sweat under his man boobs? Like, get the hell, who cares? It's such a weird rule anyways, but if they're going to make you do it and you're going to hit a home run, at least celebrate in style. Don't look like a complete moron. Touch the base. Give me a break.
That's amazing stuff. Here, 3 games on the card that we're going to get to. Started with the Cubs and the Padres. That is Arrieta versus Darvish on the mound. Now, the interesting part about this game, if you looked yesterday, Arrieta displays the same as what they had yesterday with Kyle Davies. They couldn't touch Kyle Davies being the Padres. So now you're getting Arrieta, who to me is a disaster on the mound. Obviously, the pitching matchup should favor San Diego. I thought it did last night. It didn't matter. If we're breaking down the numbers, look at FanDuel, New Jersey, 260. Bet Chris offshore, 255. Over-unders 8 across the board today. And Kyle and I were talking here before the show went live. This isn't a great lineup here for the Cubs, so maybe a warranted price, but in Major League Baseball, laying that much juice here in a game where the Cubs still a hot team, but a half of a lineup, Kyle. What are we thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I like the Padres here. I think they should win the game. They should win the first 5 innings, but it's not often that you get minus 0.5 in the first 5, minus 165. Who wants to do that? That's just not all that enticing to me. I don't mind them as like a parlay piece. Maybe you're trying to do a money line parlay and you want to find sure winners. I think the Padres look really, really good today. They profile well, obviously, off Arrieta. Darvish should do really well against half of a Cubs lineup. So all signs point to the Padres, but you're going to have to get creative in how you get some value out of it because the numbers just juiced up too much.
Yeah, Josh Bennett in the chat box. Cubs have 4 players in the lineup with an over 200 average. So that tells you where Major League Baseball is at this point. Yeah. Jason, looking at this game out west, early start, which I don't want to say it's a superstition where I see these early games like, ooh, I wish this game was at night because I would get a better feel. But this is what you get with afternoon games. If you're in the morning at 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. going, hey, I really like this Cubs team, and then you bet the game, and like, well, wait a second, everybody's taking off. You always have to take a look at the lineups that are coming out in the afternoon because that's typically where the players can gain some rest. Talk about this game early, Jason, if you had a look on this one.
Yeah, the Padres still over 4.5 in the team total at minus 115. I know a lot of people are going to resort to going to the Padres in the first 5 because Darvish is on the mound. But like you guys said, Arrieta, not the greatest pitcher in the last 30 days, of course. 5.55 xFIP, just striking out under 14% of batters and walking 10% of batters. So he's been awful. And the Padres lineup is healthy. It looks solid on paper. They're walking at a solid rate. They're not striking out nearly as much. So I do think the Padres can score 5 runs in this game against the Cubs, but know that they'll likely only get 8 innings to do that. There's, like Kyle's been saying, there's really no value on the Padres in this game. But if you're going to take the Padres, I think over 4.5 on the team total is the best way to go to get solid value at around -110, -115.
All right, lining up 927, 928, 710 first pitch down in Tampa tonight. That is Corbin, the lefty, on the mound for the Nationals, lined up against McClanahan, the lefty, for the Rays. We saw an opening number offshore at Pinnacle at -146, Kyle. That's risen to -159. In New Jersey, around that 164 to 165 range. Looking across the board, it's 7.5. That's what you get down at Tampa Bay. It seems like they win with smoke and mirrors down there and in a ballpark that's very hard to drive the baseball. Taking a look at this game that's going to get underway at 7:10 tonight. Any thoughts between Washington and Tampa Bay, Kyle?
Yeah, I actually like both lineups. By the way, I'm happy my career has come full circle. I've reached my goal. I'm now known as the grower, not a shower. That's what every man wants.
Correct.
In this world. But both of these lineups profile actually really nicely against these pitchers. McClanahan, obviously, a little bit better than Corbin. Corbin is an absolute dumpster fire. You're getting the DH, obviously, with this game being in Tampa Bay for Washington, so you won't see the hitter batting 8th like they love to do down there in Washington. But I think the 7.5 is a little low. I actually like both of these lineups in DFS. I think this game goes over. Both teams' lineups profile really nicely against that opposing pitcher. Weighted 3-year adjusted OBS of 833 and 715. So one of the higher combinations on the slate. So tough for me to pick a side. I do favor Tampa Bay. I do think they're the better team. Both lineups look good. Give me the over 7.5 in this one.
It's interesting. Just lined up against left-handed pitching here, Jason. Washington looks like it has a decent lineup scheduled to go. It's interesting because when you flip it over to Tampa Bay going up against a lefty, which Corbin hasn't had the greatest of seasons, right-handers are really getting after him. Now he's going to one of the ultimate pitching parks in Major League Baseball. And when I look at that lineup here for the Rays, weighted on base averages outside of 2 guys, they're all extremely low. Is that going to break out tonight, or what are you looking at tonight between the Nationals and the Rays down in Tampa?
It's been interesting for Corbin. He really hasn't been that bad if you go deeper into his stats. In the last 30 days, a 3.27 xFIP, really not bad. 21.7% strikeout rate, really not bad. Walking 6.7% of batters, really not that bad. What is bad, the batting average of balls in play, it's sitting at 395. That should dip, especially in this ballpark. And also the Rays, they don't really hit lefties all that well compared to righties. Now, the thing is here, the Rays, even when they're facing the lefty, they always kind of find a way to win. And McClanahan has also been really good. 2.98 xFIP in the last 30 days, 30.3% K rate, and walking 6.6% of batters. So I understand why the number is sitting at 7.5. This could be a low-scoring game, but it could also be a high-scoring game when you get to the bullpens. This is a tough one. Honestly, I think the Nationals might be a little bit of an underdog spot at +125. Yep. I just don't think Corbin is going to – the batting average of balls in play sitting at 395 is just so high. And now you're going into Tampa Bay. I think that goes down a little bit. I think he has some success against the Rays. So maybe just look at the first 5, not the full game, because it seems like the Rays still find ways to beat lefties even when they don't hit them very often, because they get to the bullpen or whatever. So maybe Nationals in the first 5.
250 plus people here in the chat box. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for spending your Wednesday afternoon with us, talking some Major League Baseball, and also watching this 0-0 exciting tilt between the Giants and the Texas Rangers. Now, the next game that I'm bringing up, this is a really interesting one for a lot of components. You get good hitting weather up there in Minnesota. You saw it last night play out. Garrett Cole is on the mound today. So you see him versus Dobnak, and immediately go, this should be able to crush him. Dobnak, not all that bad the way he profiles against the New York Yankees lineup tonight, but keep this in mind. We know how dominant Garrett Cole can be, but if we go back to his last start, 5 innings, 5 earned runs, right around the time Major League Baseball says, we're collecting baseballs here, we're going to find out who's cheating and who's really gunking up the baseballs, he gets torched in that. If you saw his not press conference, but answering questions from the media yesterday, they basically asked him, Kyle, hey, are you messing around with the baseballs? And instead of just going, even if he was cheating, no, I don't mess with baseballs. Like, this is just what it is, and I'm going to go out and dominate. He gave one of those Sammy Sosa type answers like, well, I don't really know what you mean by messing with the baseballs, and I don't know. We'll find out later. That just tells me, like, I'm nervous about taking the mound because I juice this baseball up and grease it up so I can get ridiculous numbers out here with spin rate. Now I'm concerned about it. They have a high number here, the Yankees, to cover. Are you worried about maybe that creeping in where Garrett Cole isn't the pitcher we think he is because of all the stuff he's doing to the baseball?
I guess so. Look, I mean, this is still an elite arm. We're talking about a guy, by the way, put up 64 fantasy points on the Twins the last time they started. You know what Randy Dobnak put up against the Yankees? -6. -6. Now, again, that's a really small sample size, and you can't just bet because of their last game and what they did. But the Yankees lineup does profile really well. And the Twins, it's the lowest adjusted weighted 3-year OPS of 572 of pitcher versus the opposing team. I actually have a little value menu wager here on the Yankees -0.5 in the first 5. I'm not a big Yankees guy in the first 5 innings. We know they struggle to score early, but I do expect with the magnifying glass on him, you're absolutely right. All the talk about if he's messing with the baseball, I think he's a little extra fired up tonight, a little extra motivation. That Yankees team should hit Dobnak. I actually do like some Yankees, Judge, Stanton, etc. in DFS tonight. So I'll take the Yankees. I think we're getting a nice total. Anytime you're getting Cole over Dobnak and you're getting a -0.5 in the first 5 innings at -130, it's certainly better value than you're getting on that Padres game. And to me, yes, the Twins lineup's going to be better than what the Cubs lineup is today. But I think Cole gets through them. The Yankees get a couple runs early. I like him in the first 5 innings -0.5.
The interesting part here, I'm going to throw this over to Jason because, I mean, Dobnak, you just look at his profile picture and you're like, come on, man, this guy's really a pitcher in Major League Baseball. He's a decent pitcher. He gets lit up by left-handed batters. But the projected lineup for the Yankees, you know who their murderers row of lefties tonight are? Ronald Odor and Brett Gardner tonight. The rest are righties, which he does well against. I'm interested to see what takes place. If you're just going on paper, they should be able to hit Dobnak, but his numbers suggest, like, hey, if you got a lot of lefties out here that can do damage, they can really bust him up. I don't know if that's going to be the case. It's a big number here for the Yankees, Jason. What are you looking at tonight between the Twins and the Yanks?
I'm with Kyle here. I completely agree. I think, look, Garrett Cole, he probably was using some sticky substances. He probably was cheating, but he's still a fantastic pitcher with it or without it. And obviously being all over the news, all that talk of he's not as good as we thought he was, all this, crap. I do think he turns it around and pitches well against the Twins, who really haven't been that great of a lineup, especially against righties, haven't been a great team all year long in the first place. So I do like the Yankees in the spot. I think -0.5 in the first 5 is a good look that Kyle gave out. But personally, I wouldn't bet it because of, what's been going on. It's just a lean, just something that I'm thinking about. And it'll be fun to see if Cole is able to perform like he's been.
No, and I agree with you. And it's one of the fun things that we watch in baseball. And while we're gamblers, some of the things that we look at are outside the box options, because if it's just normal Garrett Cole able to do what he does on game day, you're saying there's no way I'm looking at the Twins with Dobnak on the mound. It's just interesting when we get all this talk in Major League Baseball that, hey, the balls might be, doctored a little bit, and then Cole gets lit up out of nowhere all of a sudden. It's like, wait a second here. And then that weird answer, instead, like if he just comes out and he's lying through his teeth and says, I just had a bad outing, man. I don't touch those baseballs at all. They give me a baseball, I throw it, and that's how I dominate. You'd be like, you know what? He's going to be set. But his answer was almost like, I hope the Yankees don't find out I'm cheating where they can sue me in court and take away my big contract. That's the way that press conference really played out to me, or at least when he was answering questions to the media here. We'll see how it plays out here, but let's keep it moving here. MLB value menu wagers as we step on it tonight and see what we can find in this area. I'm actually going to go with the Boston Red Sox team total at MGM tonight, 4.5 at -135. You can find it at FanDuel. That's at 5-106. That gets in that little sticky territory. We need 6 wins to cash a ticket outside of Coors. Sometimes it's a little bit tough. It's really good hitting weather up there. I think they do get to Odorizzi in this game and bounce back at the plate. Some pretty good matchups, but that's where I'm going on my value menu wager tonight. Kyle, I'll start with you next. Where's the value on your card tonight?
I got a couple. So we talked about the Yankees minus 0.5 in the first 5 at minus 130. That hits the value menu for me tonight. And hey, we need that because Chipotle raised their prices 4%. So now instead of $7.30 for a burrito, it's $7.80 for a burrito. How are we supposed to afford that if the Yankees can't get it done in the first 5? I also really, this is for the second night in a row, the lineup that I have the most exposure to in DFS is the Philadelphia Phillies. If I look at their 8 hitters tonight, outside of Harper, who's a little bit worse against lefties, but still very, very good, a 3-year OPS of 898 against left-handed pitching, and Odubel Herrera, we're looking at advantages here of 73, 93, 73, 69, 60, and 95% for Rhys Hoskins, who legitimately is 40 points better versus lefties. And oh yeah, by the way, the pitcher, Tucker Davidson, is 60 points worse versus righties. That Phillies team total over 4.5 minus 110 hits my value menu. I also like the Rhys Hoskins home run prop at plus 250. I just think he's due for one tonight. It's been a few games since he hit one. I think he gets it done tonight off a pitcher that he should dominate against. I'll also give you guys a couple little NBA props. Aaron Gordon over 12.5 points tonight. The Nuggets are going to need him. Austin Rivers over 1.5 assists. It's steamed up at minus 170, but he should hit that relatively easy. And I like Chris Paul over 29.5 points, rebounds, and assists.
Esno Firekin says, where's the menu we used to have on the right side? Well, this is the value menu show right here as we are on StreamYard for a day or two until we get some of these internet issues worked out. The information is just the same, just a little bit lower budget right here. Jason, where is the value on your card tonight?
Yeah, so I'm looking at this Brewers and Reds game. Obviously, some weather issues there with some rain and thunderstorms and whatnot. But if this game is able to go through and play fully, I like the over 9.5 minus 125 in this game. You have Brett Anderson going against the Reds. He's a lefty that struggled recently, 5.39 xFIP, striking out just 12.3% of batters and walking nearly 9% of batters. He's a ground ball pitcher, but he's only getting 50% of ground balls. When he's on, he's getting around 60%. And the Reds, they stack up pretty nicely. Joey Votto back in the lineup as well. Anderson really been bad against lefties in the last 17 plate appearances. 429 ISO, of course, against the right side, 259 ISO, and both sides have a weighted OBA of 400 or better in the last 30 days. So that's what I like about the Red side. You go to Milwaukee side, you have Gutierrez on the mound. He's only played 2 starts so far this year, but he hasn't been great. Kind of getting a little bit lucky in those first 2 games. Yeah, high xFIP of 7. Yeah. He's only striking out 15%, and walk rate of 12.5%. The batting average of balls in play is 148. So that's going to increase just a bit, and the Brewers have a lineup that can do just that. So I do like the over 9.5 in that game as the value play because of the weather. Then I'm also on the Indians and Cardinals. No runs first inning. I saw it at minus 130 at a couple of spots. It's Giancarlos Mejia against Adam Wainwright. The Indians, they're such a poor offense right now. Wainwright should really hold them down. And Mejia, he's going to have a pitch count, and that's why I'm staying away from the first 5. Just kind of roll with the first inning. But with Mejia, he's been terrific so far this year, and I think that he'll keep it rolling against the Cardinals. As long as they don't have to face Arenado, which I think that should be, he'll be the 4th batter. So I think we'll be good there. So we'll go with no runs first inning. Don't do these too often, but with Mejia on a pitch count, I'm just going to roll with that in the first inning and expect Wainwright and Mejia to get the job done.
Let's see what happens here. One of those values that just missed, like, is scraping the bottom of the barrel, as we like to say. Seattle's lineup, where they can stack a lot of righties tonight in their game. I thought they might have been a decent look, as well as the Los Angeles Angels and the Kansas City Royals game total over, not just the team total for each side, but they missed out on the card. I'm just going to roll with that one play on the value menu, 4.5 at minus 135 here for the Boston Red Sox. As we keep moving down, best bets on the Major League Baseball board and bankers, and I hate to disappoint the captive audience right now. Took down a winner yesterday, moved to 21-9 on the season, 70%. And talking to Kyle and Jason before the show, the card is decent tonight. There are some really bad pitchers you can get after, but some of the lineups just didn't match up correct. And if they don't, I can't have a play of the day and say, you know what? I think this team is going to hit. The reason why we give out best bets and bankers because we have a decided edge on these games saying, now, wait a second, this pitcher versus this lineup in this hitting environment, this should be good. Case in point, last night, the Philadelphia Phillies. I haven't bet them all season. I said, now it's like to take the Phillies 4.5 to get the 5 runs by the 6th inning. You walk away with an easy victory. There were a couple games that were close today, but I couldn't find exactly the target to hit. Kyle, help me out here. Best bet and bankers on the board. Any best bets? What you got here today?
I'm going to give you some numbers that line up here. And we're going to go this Mets-Orioles game. And we talked yesterday. We said the Orioles would be a live dog and you could do worse. And they went out and dominated. So it kind of made us look smart. Today, let's just look at the pitching matchups, okay? Taijuan Walker and Matt Harvey. What you have in Taijuan Walker, if you take this 3-year weighted OPS versus the lineup, Taijuan Walker has the second best, it'd be lowest for the Orioles at .597. The highest is actually Matt Harvey against the Mets. The Mets lineup has a 1052 if you take an adjusted 3-year OPS in terms of what he does against those players, etc. I like the Mets lineup tonight. It's the lineup I have the second most exposure to. Alonso, Pilar, Lindor, Dom Smith, Peraza, all of these guys, Villar at the top of the lineup, all of them with advantages of at least 15% or better. And I'm getting the Mets with Matt Harvey on the mound, who, by the way, did start once against the Mets, put up 4 fantasy points. Way to go, Matt Harvey. You're getting them at plus money, minus 0.5 in the first 5. It was plus 110 this morning. It's now moved to plus 105. I think you do a whole lot worse taking the Mets with Walker. Should be able to shut down that lineup. Profiles really well against that lineup. And then the Mets, who profile well against Harvey, plus money. That's my official play of the day. Mets minus 0.5 in the first 5, plus 110.
Yeah, it should be hot and muggy down there. And anytime, I can't fault anybody. When you see Matt Harvey on the mound in a small hitter's ballpark with good weather, and when you're looking at the Mets lineup here, it doesn't look that great. But keep in mind also, you're getting a full 9 innings against Matt Harvey and the Baltimore Orioles bullpen. So it's almost like you say that's one of those auto shots that you take and say at the end of the season, if I just bet team totals against Matt Harvey and the Orioles the entire season during his starts, you're probably going to be plus money at the end of the year. Bringing up some best bets and bankers here, Jason. What do you, even though that hurts your feelings that Matt Harvey is rounding out his Major League Baseball career, what do you got today?
Yeah, I got one play. It's starting at in 30 minutes. So if you guys want to start a play before the night games, I'm on the D-backs over 3.5 on the team total. That I got at plus 125. I'm seeing around plus 105 now. The lineup already came out. We already know what we're going to get. We're getting Kelly, Marte, Escobar, Walker, Cabrera, Reddick, Ahmed, Locascio, and Vargas. Now, if you look at them against lefties, that lineup against lefties in the last 30 days, they have an ISO of 234, a weighted OBA of 409. They're striking out to 17%, and they're also walking 8% against lefties in the last 30 days. I know Kyle hit them against Peterson. I know we've hit them plenty of times against lefties before. They also killed Brett Anderson not too long ago in the first place as well. So again, Manaea coming off one of his best career starts. He went a full game, 4 hits against the Mariners. But again, it was the Mariners, and then he went 111 pitches. So a lot of people like to fade those pitchers off of big outings like that. And we're going to do that, but we're also going to do that based off of analytics. And again, this lineup has destroyed lefties. And you can also look at some of these players and how they've hit Manaea before. Ahmed, 400 average. We have Cabrera, 667 average. And these are just like 3-4 at bats, so it's not much, but they've hit them before. Escobar hitting 750 with a home run. You have Locascio, 333. Marte hitting 400. Reddick hitting 400. So a lot of these guys had success against Manaea in the past, and also obviously destroy lefties. So again, Diamondbacks over 3.5 on the team total. They're getting that full 9 at-bats, 9 innings to go, and just need 4 runs in this game. And of course, the Athletics can score some runs as well. And it could be a tight game if we need extra innings or whatnot. So official play, Diamondbacks over 3.5 on the team total at plus money.
Let's go. Cash out that dinner wager. And also yesterday, value menu wager coming in on the Oakland Athletics. That game hit there. They're 4.5, whatever you got it at. Ended up getting the 5 runs. Only needed 1 inning to get that. I believe it was in the 4th or the 5th inning and cruised to a 5-2 victory in that one. Let's get to the odds. And by the way, Kyle, can you make some like thunder and lightning noises for me real quick? There we go. See that? We're working on a lower. Yep, we're working on a lower budget right here. That's what we got for you guys. That is your odds lightning round coming to you. We'll skip over the Arizona-Oakland game because Jason just covered that with the best bet and banker. Let's flip it down to Philadelphia because I know Kyle has some thoughts on this game. 903, 904, 705. Now, we do have a lefty on the mound similar to what we had last night, which is why I had a play of the day, best bet and banker. But not as many pitchers in Major League Baseball are as bad as Drew Smyly. So they don't line up all that well, but it's still a left-handed pitcher where the Phillies should be able to get some runs. I'm just outside the Philadelphia market here, like 7 or 8 miles from the stadium. It's hot. It's muggy today. That ball should travel the same way it did last night. Kyle, any thoughts on the Phillies and the Braves tonight?
I think there's runs again in this game. Again, it's the Braves lineup against a right-handed pitcher. Eflin's okay, but he's not, this isn't Roger Clemens in his prime. The Braves should be able to rake against righties. And like I said, I love this Phillies lineup tonight. I took a sprinkle on their team total over 4.5. I also did a little sprinkle on the Rhys Hoskins home run prop at plus 250 for those asking in the chat box. Again, 7 of their 9 hitters have advantages of 60% or better today. You don't see that very often. It's just not something you see a lot. And even the 2 hitters who don't have an advantage, Herrera and Harper, Odubel Herrera actually hits lefties better than he hits righties. And Bryce Harper is very, very good as well against lefties. It's hard for me to imagine the Phillies not getting that team total with the advantages against the starter and that bad Braves bullpen. This game feels like an over. I like both lineups in DFS, and I like that home run prop for Rhys Hoskins.
You know what's interesting, Kyle? You take a look at this game with Zach Eflin on the mound. His xFIP minus is 4th best on the card today at an 80. His ERA is 4.10, which is a little high, but look at his FIP number, 3.22, and an xFIP of 3.28. He's done really well, but it's the same thing with matchups, because when you take a look at right-handed pitching going against the Atlanta Braves in 2021, their entire lineup rakes, and you saw it last night. The Phillies' best pitcher, Aaron Nola, they still got to him. Zach Eflin, not as good as Aaron Nola, hitting environment. Maybe it's just one of those auto bets where you get a depressed number here on the Atlanta Braves, and they're able to eat. Because keep in mind, Zach Eflin's not going 9 innings tonight. And that Phillies bullpen, you saw, the rested and ready Phillies bullpen last night? Yeah, rested and ready for a loss is exactly what they got here. We'll keep going down the list. The Dodgers and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Gonsolin versus Anderson today. 9s across the board. Heavy favorite for the Dodgers. And when I take a look at the Dodgers lineup, sometimes I feel a little bit like that Atlanta lineup here, Jason. It just looks good on paper all the way up and down the card, even if they don't profile and say, well, they don't really hit lefties as well as righties. That lineup is murderer's row 1 through 8. They're going to do damage in the summer. Any thoughts on this game between the Pirates and the Dodgers today?
Well, I'm excited to see Gonsolin back in action. He was fun last year. He was pretty good last year. 2.31 ERA last year. So it tells you everything you need to know about him. He was terrific. And obviously with the way the balls are now, he should be better than that 2.29 FIP that he had last year as well. So I think Gonsolin should have a great game against the Pirates. Of course, the Pirates just do everything wrong. If you're betting on the Pirates, you're ridiculous because I
got magic beans to sell you. If you're betting on the Pirates,
is back. Colin Moran is back. Lay the wood.
I have these magic beans and they grow into a beanstalk. You can have them. I'll sell you $100 a piece.
You can't put money on the Pirates right now. I mean, fundamentally, they're just challenged, and it's just you just never know what you're going to get from them. And even if you think they're going to win, you just got to go other spots because right now the Pirates, they're just I don't know if it's managing. I don't know if it's just I don't know what it is, but it's just been awful to watch. And like Donnie said, the Dodgers offense, they profile really well regardless lefty righty. Anderson, not the best lefty in the world anyway, and 4.97 xFIP in the last looks like 30 days, and also struggling against righties. There's a ton of righties in the lineup for the Dodgers. They should be able to smack them around a little bit. So I would go with the Dodgers here over 4.5 on the team total as the play for that game.
Kyle, we're going to skip a couple games down. We obviously talked about you had a interest there in the Mets and the Baltimore Orioles. We also talked about Milwaukee and Cincinnati. Yep. Gomber's on the mound for Colorado. We'll skip over this game because Miami just announced a starting pitcher here, which is going to be Braxton Garrett. But the game I want to talk to you about, which is kind of interesting to me, 9-11, 9-12, that is Houston and Boston, Odorizzi versus Eovaldi. If we take a look, and this is another one, taking a look at the lineups and just saying that is a quality lineup regardless of pitcher. Nathan Eovaldi has an 84 xFIP minus and a 3.41 xFIP. He's pitched very well this year, but you're lining him up against a team that rakes right-handed pitching. Altuve, 350 weighted on base average. Brantley, 349. Correa, 357. Alvarez, 356. Gurriel, 374. Tucker, 364. They hit really well, but I'm looking more towards Boston going to get up against Odorizzi, who, if we take a look at his xFIP minus, is a 112 and an ERA of 7.16. and a Sierra of 4.44. Just need to get 5 runs in this game to cash it in. The top of the lineup should do some damage. Good hitting weather in Boston. Any thoughts on this game here, Kyle?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I actually like runs in this game, and I like Boston, and there's a reason their team total is over 4.5 is -145. That means they're getting really close to shifting this to 5 or 5.5, right? I mean, we're just a hop, skip, and a jump away from that happening because the Red Sox should hit, and I do like the lineup tonight. I like Devers. I like Bogarts, Verdugo. Boston should be able to hit off of Odorizzi, who's just been odorific. This is not the same guy as he was a couple of years ago. When this guy's just terrible. So I do like Boston in the spot. And listen, I don't think you're crazy either for taking a splash on that Houston team total. I mean, we're looking at a total of 10 in the game, so I don't bet those. But Houston's also sitting at 4.5. I think both teams should be able to hit tonight. The slightest of slight leans to Boston overall as a side, but I do like that team total. But if you want it at 4.5, you better do it now because it seems to be trending in that direction where it's going to be 5 or 5.5 soon.
All right, next game up, 9-13, 9-14, Seattle and Detroit. Jason, look at it, Flexen versus Mize, 132 to 138 favorite here for Detroit. Seattle and Detroit, a 9 across the board. This is one where you take a look at Mize on the season, a 4.31 xFIP, which isn't terrible. He does very well versus right-handed bats, but against lefties on the season, a 330 weighted on base average and an ISO power number of 236. So if you say you want to line up lefties, not the greatest lefties, but a ton of lefties in the lineup anticipated, Jason, for the Mariners. Crawford, Seager, Long, Trammell, Fraley, Godoy, and Walton in the lineup. He's going to see a lot of lefties. Any looks on this game between these two bad baseball teams?
Yeah, I expect no runs in this game. First 5,
good.
A great play at -105. Really, look, Mize has been terrific recently. 3 earned runs or less in the last, about month and a half. And Preston, he hasn't been great, but I mean, at the end of the day, he's going up against the Detroit lineup that has a 119 ISO and 281 weighted OBA with 27% strikeouts and 6% walks in the last 30 days. So I really don't expect many runs in this game. Both offenses are so bad. Mize has been really good, and if there's some run, it's going to come from probably come from Detroit against Flexen, who's not striking out any batters, but like they might have a solo home run or two, but they're not going to get any guys on base to get those home runs with guys on base. So, I think under 4.5 in the first 5 is a good look at -105. It was actually close to being an official play, but it's just pain watching and betting on a Mariners-Detroit game. So that would be ridiculous. So staying away from the game, but I am pretty confident in the under 4.5 in the first 5.
Like, keep in mind also in this game, Jason, as you take a look, because when you flip it over, because I just looked at Seattle, but when you look at Detroit, you like to look at, what they can do weighted on base average wise and ISO power number. Like, what are you doing with the baseball? You just like dribbling it to shortstop, or can you power one in the gap? Their ISO power number all the way through like 1 through 9 tonight, keep in mind like a .170 is decent for Major League Baseball. I'm going to read you their numbers. .125, .011, .146, .111, .115, .157, .122, .154, and one of the famous ones out of Hill, the 9-hole hitter, 0.0. Like, is there any power in this game, Jason?
And it might come. It might come from the Mariners. It might come from the Mariners, but what the reality is, they're not going to have anyone on base when they hit those solo home runs, and those are just those. So it's just one run at the end of the day. So I mean, the Mariners might get a home run or two, but there won't be anyone on base.
What's interesting, too, about Detroit, remember when they first built Comerica Park, they had the outfield was like 400 feet down both lines, it felt like, and 500 feet to center. Imagine this team in that ballpark. They might hit like 2 home runs on the season. So we'll see what happens in that game tonight. But even though it's a lower level game, they're fun to try to break down and analyze because of how bad you see like the top rosters in baseball. Like you review the Dodgers, like, ooh, that team can really hit. But then you have teams like Seattle and Detroit. Like, how is this the same league we're actually playing in where nobody's a good baseball player in the entire game? Keep it moving down the list here. 9-17, 9-18, Kyle. Toronto and the Chicago White Sox. That's going to be Manoah and Lynn on the mound. I know everybody's high on Manoah, but when you take a look at his xFIP minus number, it's a 111. Decent ERA at 3.86, but check out his FIP number, 6.68. Are we leaning on the young phenom, or is this just, hey, I'll ride the White Sox in this one?
Yeah, it's a little tough. Actually, this is an internal win for me because I always like to guess which game Donnie's going to ask me next, and I got this one right. I was in my head, so I was already looking at this while Jason was talking, which is beautiful for me. This one's tough, right? So the White Sox lineup does not profile well against this young man. So we're talking, here's the advantages here. -77, -61, -98, -32, -17, -64, -94. So it doesn't look good for the White Sox here. On the flip side of that, we know Lance Lynn is a very good pitcher and an above average pitcher. There are some hitters for Toronto profile. Well, Marcus Semien, 8 of 19 lifetime, 4 extra base hits off of Lynn. Vlad Guerrero, 24% advantage, a couple of hits and 5 at bats. Gurriel, a 19% advantage. Bo Bichette, a 9% advantage. I'm looking at a team total of 3.5 for Toronto, -115. The White Sox, not a great bullpen either. I do think I don't have a lot of interest in picking a side here. I think it's pretty 50-50, and neither one is wild, but Blue Jays team total over 3.5 makes a little bit of sense. And I also like the under 4.5 runs in the first 5 innings. I don't think you see a huge early explosion. Lynn should be able to hold down Toronto a little bit. Again, the White Sox don't profile well. So if Manoah has his better stuff, he should get there. The best part about this, I can't see the hand no matter what. So I know the hand is being hit, but I can't see it. So I can just ramble on. I have all this freedom, which I love. It's like I built bunk beds in my room. But I'll lean that under 4.5 in the first 5 innings, and I do think a little sprinkle on the Toronto team total makes some sense as well.
Wonder how many people got that Step Brothers reference right there, but I certainly got it. And also, clear something up in the chat box here from Alex L. Official play for Jay, who says no runs in the game. His play of the year, folks, is nobody will score a run in this game. Think about that. That's a lock. Not a single play, not a single run will score.
4 a.m., 0-0, 24th inning.
Suspended play. If he pulls off a win in a baseball game that nobody ever scored, we're going to have to put this one into the Hall of Fame for this action here. But last game on the card we're going to talk about, Jason, I'll swing it to you. We'll skip over Cleveland and St. Louis because we already had some information on that game. But the late game tonight, 9:38 on the West Coast, Kansas City and the Angels. Keller versus Canning. Not great pitchers on the mound, but it almost seems like we like to bet Kansas City when they're at home in Kansas City. It's decent hitting weather, not two bad pitchers, but not two average pitchers to say the least here. I looked at it on my card thinking they could both get 4 runs, which would give you a push for 9 and maybe extras. Any thoughts about this game between Keller and Canning late at night tonight?
It's hard because the Angels, they do have some bats in the lineup that have been hitting righties well recently. You have Upton at the top, who actually in the last 63 plate appearances, 357 ISO and a weighted OBA of 385. Ohtani obviously going to destroy no matter who's pitching. Walsh been really good. Stassi back in the lineup. He's looked really good. So I think the Angels have the better lineup here. And I think they can do some more damage, but they don't walk at all. I mean, Ohtani gets 19.4%. But the rest of the lineup, they don't walk. They don't get on base. So it's really hard to score runs when you don't get on base, especially with walks, and we're not patient enough. So it's tough. I think that the Angels should be able to score 5 runs, like Donnie said. I do like the Angels more in the first 5. The Royals, their offense really hasn't been that great. The last couple of weeks, sure, they've been a little bit better, but not high on them. They look a lot better on paper than they really are. And really only one batter in that lineup against righties has a high weighted OBA of 389, which is Benintendi. The rest have lower than 316, it looks like, in that lineup. So the Angels are the better lineup. I think they're the better team. I think they got the job done. So, yeah, there's that.
I'm with you. There you go. Let's wrap it up here, clear the bases, and get out of here. Close to 400 people watching today on our YouTube channel right here at sportsbookreview.com. Thank you guys for doing that. If you need any extra information to make yourself a better baseball better, click the link below, sbrpicks.com/MLB. Now, typically in the chat box, we have the link starting Monday, an awesome contest with up to $20,000 in Bitcoin available, and it's free. So get in there, check out the details, and there's probably through that link there at the bottom as well, sbrpicks.com/MLB. Wrap it up here. I don't have a best bet or banker on my card today, but I'm betting a little bit of money here on the Boston Red Sox team total over 4.5 at BetMGM. Kyle, take it away. Wrap it up here. What do you have here? Your value and also best bet and banker.
Okay, going to be long-winded. So play of the day, Mets -0.5 in the first 5 plus 110. On the value menu, we've got the Yankees -0.5 in the first 5 at -130. Phillies team total over 4.5 -110. Rhys Hoskins, home run prop plus 250. Aaron Gordon, over 12.5 points in the Nuggets Suns game. Austin Rivers over 1.5 assists, and Chris Paul over 29.5 points, rebounds, and assists. There you go. Let's win some money tonight.
CP3, Jason, take it away. Where's your value? And recap your best bet and banker.
Yeah, so the banker, the best bet, Diamondbacks over 3.5 on the team total. Got that at plus 125. I'm still seeing plus 105. Plus money is great for this bet. I love it. So that game begins at 3:37, so Eastern time. So if you want it, you got to get on it now. But the value tonight, we'll watch some more games, get on some more games. The Brewers versus Reds over 9.5 at minus 125. There is some rain in the forecast there. That's why it's not a best bet as well. Still love this play over 9.5, and I'll put some money on that as a value wager. And we'll also go with no runs in the first inning with the Indians and Cardinals. Mejia and Wainwright on the mound there, and I think they should both get the job done in the first inning, so we can cash those 2 tickets as well.
Interesting spots for tomorrow as well. 4-day games. Also, a lefty is going to be on the mound versus the Chicago White Sox. And Jay Happ, a terrible lefty, on the mound tomorrow against the Yankees in what appears to be another 90-degree day in Minnesota. So some good stuff might be on tap. The reason why we haven't updated you on San Francisco and Texas, because there's nothing to update. Still 0-0. Absolutely nothing is going on. But thank you guys for tuning in today to SportsBookReview.com's Major League Baseball show. We had a blast going over everything. Hopefully we can cash some tickets on our way out the door. I'm Donnie Seymour for Kyle and also Jason. Thanks for tuning in. Good luck on those wagers, and we will be back at it tomorrow.